Sports Radio Tri-City. Tennessee football, a nice honor for offensive lineman Trey Smith. He's been named to the AP All-SEC second team. He was the only Tennessee offensive lineman to start all 12 games for the Vols in 2017. This is the time of year where honors do come out. Senior tight end Ethan Wolf, he's accepted an invitation to play in the East-West Shrine Game, which will take place on January 20th at Tropicana Field. ETSU basketball in action later on this week on the men's side of things. They will play tomorrow when they host Northern Kentucky inside of Freedom Hall. The women's basketball team out to a 6-4 start. They're back in action coming up on Sunday when they play at Houston. App State men's basketball, they lose yesterday at Western Carolina 72-71. They are at Akron on Saturday. With a sports flash on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, I'm Matt Pauley.
Hey, I'm Marky Billson. This is Tri-City Sports Now. Wanted to tell you a little bit more about the college football coaching search. I don't understand where Willie Taggert, with his lifetime losing record, is now suddenly the hot candidate. I guess picked over. I get you that, but why Les Miles? And I guess I theorized about it before. Okay, Les Miles, 63 years old. You don't hire Les Miles to coach for the next 20 years. You hire Les Miles to coach 5 years. And if you've got a turnkey program, yeah, maybe a Les Miles. Hey, all those fake field goals. I mean, you never know what to expect with Les Miles. Maybe then that is what you would ask for a coach. I mean, let's just say if he used to coach at Oklahoma State, if Mike Gundy had gone to Tennessee, I'll just say that. Who does Oklahoma State look? Well, we've got this, picked by Sports Illustrated, go to the playoffs this year. We're top 15 program, all this. Maybe we hire Les Miles to keep us at this level. Did well for us before. Something like that. A program, if you lost a coach to a pro job, something like that. And you had a real, obviously, pros aren't hiring losing college coaches. So thought about Florida State, but the thing about Florida State is that they're 6-6 this year. Florida State was not that good of a program this year. So maybe that's why they're after a coach that's 47-50. I don't know. Now, let's see here. At Yahoo, Pete Thamel. It's beginning, the idea is that if Taggert does go to the Seminoles, who would be in line at Oregon? And Thamel theorizes Kevin Sumlin. Also, let's see here, Oregon searched for Greg Schiano, PJ Fleck, Matt Rule, Memphis coach Mike Norvell. Poor Memphis, they can't keep a coach to save their life. He might be going, it says, to Arkansas. Central Florida. They just hired somebody here. We got that. So we'll get that in just a second here. Tell you in the next break who, because I saw this, that Central Florida hired a coach, but I don't have him right in front of me. So I could get that for you here just by going on the computer now, couldn't I? But UCF hired a coach. And I will get this to you very shortly on Tri-City Sports Now. I will reiterate, if somehow Arkansas brings in Mike Leach, that's it. I mean, they are going to be, the Razorbacks are then higher than the Vols on the immediate, certainly, pecking order of the SEC. I mean, you look at it now, who would you... I mean, one could make the argument that the Vols are absolute dead last because they finished dead last year. It's a little bit, I don't know if I'm saying that their future is not as bright as, say, Ole Miss's is in the future. Ole Miss, long probation, Matt Luke. They do have Shea Patterson for next year, but other than that, what's the optimism going around Ole Miss? Really, I could see that. People are going to say Vanderbilt all the time. I actually would take Vanderbilt on SEC football hierarchy over Kentucky. I just think Kentucky is that devoted to basketball. And we see the quote-unquote smart schools recently, Stanford, Baylor, Northwestern, winning football games these days. Missouri offensive coordinator Josh Heupel, who I thought 2 years ago, actually last year, I wrote Saturday Down South that he was the best coordinator hire in the SEC. Guess what? Josh Heupel is the new coach at Central Florida. His defensive coordinator, ready for this? Randy Shannon, late of Florida. I think Heupel is a very good coach. I think that Central Florida made a nice hire there. The old Missouri offensive coordinator has really done wonders these last 2 years with Drew Lock. So, what do you think the best quarterbacks were in the SEC? I mean, Shea Patterson, I mentioned right there. People are going to, the guy at Alabama, Hurts, obviously. I'm going to tell you, though, Shermer and Locke, hard to go against those guys as being two really nice pro prospects. Anyway, another thing I would ask, what if Hunter Yurachek is able to hire Chad Morris away from Tennessee? I actually, despite the fact we had Jeremy Poplin on the show, who worked with Morris at Tulsa and such, I would say, well, then if Arkansas hires Morris ahead of Tennessee, Morris doesn't impress me. I'm sorry. The only thing that impresses me about Morris is the recommendation that Jeremy Poplin gave him on this show. That's it. Doesn't recruit that much out of Texas. 7-5 at SMU. Okay, at SMU in the American. Big deal. They turn around teams very quickly in the American. Central Florida was 0-12 2 years ago. Come on. So the other names they're talking about, Mike Norvell. If Mike Norvell, it's not Norvelli, it's Mike Norvell. If Mike Norvell is hired at Arkansas, and Tennessee wants, that's another one. Norvell, I'd like Norvell more than Morris. He won more. They went to the American Championship game, American Athletic Conference. Never call it the AAC. I learned this when I was the pregame host for Tulane. Never call it the AAC. Always call it either the American or the American Athletic Conference. I don't know exactly why. But yeah, just Arkansas, it looks like they are looking for some bigger name hires than Brett Bielema. Bielema. It always seemed to be an odd fit there at Arkansas. It didn't work out. What I want to find out is where Jeff Long, the old athletic director, comes. I like Jeff Long. I worked with him at Pitt. I think Jeff Long is a good athletic director. Okay. When Fulmer, maybe he steps, maybe at Tennessee. Why not? We don't want the failed Arkansas AD. I'm telling you, he's a good guy. Real good one. Hired Dave Wannstedt at Pitt. And Wannstedt, at the end of his tenure, I don't know if you remember this. Some of you maybe would remember 10 years ago, the Panthers knocked off Miami on the way to not Miami, but West Virginia on the way to the national championship game, much like they knocked off Miami this year, only even with more dramaticism and in Morgantown. But on top of that, in fact, some people think that was the last hurrah for the Big East Conference in football. But the other thing is that he had him at 9 wins a year at the end of his tenure, which is not that easy up there anymore. It's not like it was when Jackie Sherrill was the coach. Anyway, Tri-City Sports Now, and come back, I'll be talking about the bowl games. Yes, the bowl games. Yeah, I know that can be a snoozer. Tri-City Sports Now, but I will make it exciting, I promise.
The Golden Globe winner for Best Drama